Matt. So I guess we're back officially, season 4. I
Season 4.
didn't even realize I had a catchphrase until you made that video of
So you're
me saying
welcome,
it.
by the way. At least you're
I mean,
aware of it
I guess, but that's so weird. Like, how do I unconsciously said that? I'm guessing
for
almost
3
every
years.
week without even realizing it. So anyway, yeah, season 4, we are back. Um, a lot of stuff we need to get into this week, but you know, I'm feeling. Yep, you can hint at it right there. Um, but overall, feeling pretty refreshed. Like we took a hard break this time.
Yeah, we
No
needed it.
off
We needed
season
it.
stuff. We definitely needed it. It is like kind of a grind, honestly, but overall, it's still fun for us. Like, do we do it because we think we're gonna blow up and get famous? I mean, at this point,
No.
no.
We're pretty realistic, at least.
Yeah, like, but it's still fun for us. It's still fun to talk sports. For the few of you that still listen, we appreciate it. Hopefully, you're going to rock with us for another season. Hopefully, you see some improvements this season. Just a little bit more entertainment for you guys overall. But I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. I think this will be our best season yet. We've gotten better every season, come a long way from that first episode during COVID. So
God.
honestly, I can't wait to see what this season has in store for us, Matt. So let's get into it, right? First thing though, summer break. Let's see. What did we kind of get into?
Two
I mean,
months.
2 months.
We're gone
I've
for
just
two
been,
months.
yeah, I just been chilling, working.
Chilling, drinking.
Yeah, maybe ease up on that part for me. But going on a
Gone to
couple
Vegas.
trips. Yeah, you went to
Vegas.
Vegas. I'll be going on a few trips this month. Actually, like 3 trips. I special one. Do I will be getting to go to the Dolphins Seahawks game this year, so that'll be fun.
Ooh.
And yeah, looking forward to going to my first NFL game in person. So excited for that.
You're gonna have to cheer louder than the 12th man, which is gonna be a task.
Yeah, see, I think we are sitting on the visitor side, so hopefully I'm around some, Miami fans. But I think,
Hawaii fans.
yeah, I'll be. That's true. I'll be sitting in the end zone on the end zone side. So yeah, we'll see. Should be fun. I'm excited. Think we're both well rested, but been kind of itching to get back into the sports talk. Not really, you know, too too much has gone on recently. It's just been baseball, but with college football starting this past weekend, the NFL season is upon us. It's time for season 4 to begin. So let's get right into it, Matt. Starting off with the main sports of the summer, I guess, the Olympics, right? Team USA did very well. I believe we finished with the most overall medals, and did we
Most
tie?
overall.
We
Yeah, they
tied
tied
with
with
China
China.
for the most gold. So, you know, would have liked to come out with one more gold medal, but it is what it is. Great performances by Team USA, traveling to Paris. Doesn't sound like it was the most ideal conditions, for the outside sports, for, some of the athletes in the village, right? But nonetheless, seemed like an overall success for Team USA. So obviously, one of our main sports that we like to cover was presented with arguably the greatest team ever assembled in history, might add. This is,
The
dating
debate.
back to
Yep.
the Redeem team in '08. This is going back to the Dream team. So I'm curious, Matt, just on the roster itself, how are we feeling? You feel pretty strongly this was the greatest team ever assembled.
Ooh, I mean, you could definitely make the case. The Redeem team was pretty good. Like I say the 2012 team was good because they had LeBron, they had Kobe, prime Chris Paul, but the I think the bigs weren't. I think what Tyson Chandler was the starting big. AD was just a baby back then. So, but I don't know. I feel like this year the size, the shooting, and then just the playmaking, I thought there's a good balance. And the defense. Let's not forget about defense. I'm a huge defensive guy in sports. We can't forget about guy. Maybe not the names, but the fits were great. I thought Drew Holiday, not gonna be a big name guy internationally, but for us Americans that watch the NBA, it's like, yeah, you kind of know who this guy is, and he's the best of the best when it comes to playing defense. Even Jason Tatum, he didn't play, but he's still a quality defender. Derek White, and then we get to see another side of players like Devin Booker, a guy who drops 70 points in a game, turns into I want to say a 3 and D kind of guy basically on this team. So I just thought the pieces fit pretty nicely with this team. And I don't know. I think they could beat the dream team. I really think they could beat the dream team. And it's nothing against the dream team, but the way basketball is played right now, and maybe it's just us, we're mid 20s, we didn't grow up with, the Magic Johnsons, the Michael Jordans, but it just seems like the game is so much more competitive now. And for this team to pull off, a gold medal with the competition that they face, that's saying a lot, I think. And, just seeing maybe the greatest trio ever on the court together at the same time. Probably the only time was, I think, something to see. And you got those three guys on your team, you can make a case that's the greatest team ever. Steph, LeBron, KD. You can throw anybody in there. It can be Kobe, it can be MJ. Like those three, surefire goats of basketball.
Definitely. And I want to just echo your point, Matt. You know, it's probably the heaviest debated basketball topic for the clash between generations, right? We even hear, I think I heard something today, like Kevin Garnett saying, players in this era wouldn't have survived 20 years ago. And, like, I think it's just going to be the eternal discussion of basketball for the rest of the time we humans are playing the sport. Because to their point, they are Hall of Fame players who have played at the highest level, successful championship winning players throughout all the eras. Go back to the 92 Dream Team, talk about the '08 team, talk about today's team now. And honestly, I can understand the debate for every era, but that's just it. I think it's just so impossible to debate because there's so many factors that come into play, right? The rules are different, the pace of the game is different, the skill level is different, how global the game is, it's come a long way. So it's like, okay, how do you even begin to debate it? If we take that 92, the dream team, right? Stick them in today's game, like I'm talking like take them exactly as they are, drop them in today's game. I think they lose because they're not used to the pace of play. They're not used to Steph bombing like that. Would it be competitive? I'm sure it would be,
Oh
but
yeah.
I think, just because of the talent of players, but the game has come such a long way since then that I think they'd be at a disadvantage. On the contrary, say those exact same players grew up in this era, that's a completely different, argument there. So it's like, are you gonna take them as they are, or like if MJ grew up in this era, with the three ball, with all the AAU stuff that was going on, would he be a different player? Would he be even better? I, dare say. So it's so hard to debate that stuff. So I'll end it with this. I do think that for as long as the game continues to develop and continues to expand, for me, the greatest collection of talent, in the current day and age, whenever it is, should have the slight edge over previous teams. We've seen how far, France, for example, right? Wembenyama, Victor, he's gonna. I mean,
They're gonna win a gold medal in two
we have
Olympics.
never seen
Book it.
anything like him. Uh, that's a fair statement. And looking at Serbia, I mean, yeah, they had Jokic, they had Bogdanovic, but outside of that, not a lot of big name guys, but still gave the USA, a run for their money. Essentially had that game won until the comeback. So I do think, just as an objective basketball fan, the current day and age, whenever that is always going to have a slight advantage over the past teams. So I'll leave it at that. But do want to get into the actual basketball games, Matt. We'll start with the two, the semifinal and the final Serbia game, and then the gold medal game against France.
My
What
God.
more needs to be said other than Steph, man? He finally came through, showed up, but I know you've been kind of wanting to talk about those two games. So just give me your kind of overall reflection.
Oh my gosh. Well, just watching the game, I was like stressing. I don't know, like not even that's not my fan, but it's like, I don't know, that's your country, that's the guys that you idolize watching on TV going up against another country. I don't know, just the stage was just beautiful. But I was stressing, man. Like I didn't want to witness a 2004 USA collapse in the Olympics. Like I was a little still too young to kind of remember like what actually happened. That was when LeBron was a baby, like Carmelo and D Wade and those boys. But I was thinking, oh my gosh, like this is actually it might happen again. It was gonna happen again. So I was actually stressing. And it sucked because throughout the whole game, Steph Curry was going ballistic that game. The gold medal game, I mean, he had his moment, but it was really like that last, couple minutes of the fourth where he just said, I'm the greatest shooter on the planet. Watch this. But the semifinals game, that was his best all around game in terms of overall start to finish. He was locked and loaded. And somehow you're down 17 when Steph Curry's going crazy. Like, who would have thought? But just to see the comeback, I think that might have been the greatest Olympic game I've ever watched. Maybe in any sport, definitely in basketball, I think. Um, just the way I think it played out, and it was the guys that led the comeback. LeBron, Steph, KD, even Joel Embiid, right? The older guys in the team. It was just like, man, like these old heads, they can still beat the youth, man, with their knowledge, their IQ. And I think that's really what it was, because I think you look at these post game stuff that's happened, months after, I should say weeks after. Like even KD, I think KD did an interview with Ant, and then they were saying like they weren't even calling plays. It was just they were just playing basketball. They were reading one another. The chemistry was there. It's like he was like that's when basketball is at its best, and I agree with him. Like it's just they're executing, they're working together as a team. There's no egos involved. I thought like, oh my gosh, like who's gonna take the last shot? But it's like in a weird way, they all had their moments in that game. Like LeBron had the tying shot, Steph had the go ahead shot, and then KD had the shot at the end that in essence sealed it, right? So it was like, wow, they all they all had their moments, and I was just in awe. I went from stress to like, wow. I think I had chicken skin at the end because I was like, this is I don't think we're ever gonna see this again. Maybe and then 2 days later, another magical show happened. But I was like, wow. I think I was texting you too. Like, oh my God, we're gonna lose. I lost faith already. So
I agree. Yeah, just
I lost
trying
faith.
to.
So sorry, America.
No, but that's what makes that win feel like it's even sweeter because that's a genuine game where, as I was like just trying to follow it like on my phone, like I'd step out like, oh, what's the score? Oh my gosh, they're down, like you said, like 15-17 or whatever in the second half. I'm like, that's it, like it's over. And they're good at this is I was just thinking of all the narratives, right? Because we
Mm-hmm.
are slightly LeBron favored over MJ in our GOAT debate. And I'm just thinking, oh, this is such a huge, piece that the MJ GOAT debate side can have now. It's because, right, LeBron, the greatest collection of talent ever, he has Steph, he has KD, and you not only lose or not only not win gold, but not even make it to the gold medal game. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a disaster. You know, lo and behold, like you said, they mount such a great comeback with all the OGs hitting huge shots. Also, yeah, shout out to Joel Embiid in that one. Really helped bring them back.
Mm-hmm.
And Serbia, I mean, they were on fire from three. Just
They couldn't miss.
finally went cold. I think it was due to happen. And so that one, yeah, felt like even like the biggest sigh of relief, I think. Because at least if you go against France in their home country, and you lose, yeah, it's still a blemish and it still would get talked about, but it's not losing to, in the semifinals, right? To Serbia to play in the bronze medal game. So I'm glad that that game happened like it did. And I thought that was going to be the big one. I still felt confident with them going against France, but with how, dramatic that Serbia one was like, okay, let's not have all that drama in the France game, but it's their home country. They're playing in front of their hometown fans, and France brought it, right? I mean, like we said earlier, Wembenyama. I mean, the kid's what, 20? He
20 years old.
can't even legally have a drink in the United States yet. But here he is dropping 26 points on 11 of 19, going up against the
The
greatest collection
greatest
of
team
talent
ever.
ever. I mean, speechless. Not much you can really say about that, but France definitely has a special one there. And, you know, this gold medal game, it was finally the perfect cap to not like it needed to be solidified, but the cherry on top for Steph's Hall of Fame career. Just the moment down that fourth quarter stretch when he hit what was it, four threes in a row
4 in a row.
to seal the game. Each one a little bit like, I don't want to say more difficult, but the pressure would mount because it's like, oh, he hit the dagger, and to France's credit, would come back and answer, which is why it's like I kept thinking, oh, that's a three that's gonna do it. Oh no, France, here they come, right? Oh no, surely that three. Oh, here comes France answering, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just miss one of these. After he hit that third one, I'm like, okay, that's it for sure. Nope.
Wembanyama, I
And
think he made that the next
yeah,
one, right?
and so that last shot though, Matt, that's gonna be one of the shots that I'm gonna remember forever. Um, Such an iconic shot, a great call. The moment of that shot as well, right? Like for Steph, it's so crazy how his narrative has shifted throughout his career. Early in his career, it's, oh yeah, he's this great shooting talent, he's this great shooter, but he can't get it done. You remember early in his career, in the clutch moments, oh, can't do it. That game 7 against Cleveland, oh, then KD is there and it's all KD. And while he did shake most of those narratives with the most recent finals win against Boston, right? It's always been kind of that lingering thing, but I mean, there's nothing you can say now, right? Biggest moment, with the whole country watching,
Whole
and
world, maybe.
the whole world, yeah, you're right, the whole world watching, to hit a Steph Curry shot, a Steph Curry heat check, where literally anyone else in the world is not even thinking. You can't even fathom to take a shot like that, right? Double team comes, and you have Kevin Durant and
That's what
LeBron
makes it
James
so good.
wide open on the wing, hands up, signaling for the ball. Nah, instead I'm gonna sidestep, step back over two guys, catch. I mean, just like you couldn't write it better than that. You don't even make that's like you literally don't even make 2K shots like that. So just gotta tip your cap to Steph, man. He got his moment with the Olympics now. It's solidified he's one of the greatest players to ever do it, I think now. And what a game. What a game, what a moment. That's for sure my top moment of the Olympics, just
Oh
to see
yeah.
that whole thing and the reactions of all of them as well. And you could tell the chemistry early in the exhibitions and stuff. They were still getting to know each other by that end time. You could tell how close of a team they all were, you know, getting along, and that's what was so great. So, you know,
I
really
think that's
glad.
what I like the Olympics too. It's like the relationships that these guys build. It's like these guys are the best of the best, the alphas, right? They're obviously in the NBA season. Yeah, maybe they're friends, cordial, but it's like they're going after one another, like LeBron and KD. The feeling is there's respect, but it's like, okay, if I'm LeBron, like I'm gonna outshine KD today, or KD's gonna say the same thing. Like they have all these battles, right? They're so intense, but they have a little soft side where it's like now they're teammates, and it's like you can see this beautiful chemistry coming together from superstars, which is really hard to do. Like to go, everybody is an alpha. You got to sacrifice, be team oriented in a way. I just think it was just a beautiful collection of basketball being played in the Olympics, and I'm glad it was the superstars that were showing us like the marquee names. It wasn't like, not to knock any NBA player, but it wasn't like those like borderline all-star players, like it was the Hall of Famers, the LeBrons, the Stephs, the KDs. Like we got to see them show us how it's done. And I just think we're never going to see that kind of talent. Maybe I shouldn't say ever, but that generation doesn't have that, or this next generation doesn't have that aura, I think, that these guys bring. It's just there's something different about them. So it's kind of like their last hurrah. I don't want to say like a farewell tour, but all those guys only have a few more years left at most in the league. So I just think it was a good farewell, like last call for them. It was great to see.
Definitely a good send off as they kind of wind down into their careers, like you said, Matt. So props to
Passing
them.
of the
That was
torch to Ant now.
passing of the torch. And probably you would assume Book will be back. Tatum, all these guys. I would think Halliburton comes back.
Tatum
Well,
is a question mark now.
I don't know. Yeah, he might be a little upset of his playing time, but nah, you gotta assume he's gonna play. So
Well, Steve Kerr is not going to come back, so I think he can play. Might be
yeah,
Spo, Pilot,
we'll
Portland
we'll
Pilot
see.
leading the
Yeah, that'd be
country.
great. That'd be great. So hopefully it is Bo. But getting to the other sports, Matt, wanted to just touch on a few. So I wanted to start actually with if you had your top five moments. We'll go the US Olympic moments. I have my list here, but I'll let you go first. So why don't you go in order? I think we kind of both have the same number one, but
Yeah, unbiasedly, I think the number one big basketball fan. So I got to pick, Steph Curry, Team USA.
it's probably a little bit of bias for me. So
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, that's just the sports that we like. So, but I will say the other ones. I guess number two. I don't know. I was really drawn into the Gabby Thomas race when she won gold. I was a huge fan. Like the way that she came off the turn, it was like whoa. That was a lot of these track stars. It's like they're so close, but it's like for her to just like pull away like that with power, that was special. So I would say her 200-meter was probably up there for me. The third one, I think I gotta acknowledge the goats. I think Simone Biles, with her kind of falling out with the Tokyo one, the mental health thing, for her to come back, obviously as a team, USA, they win the gold, but then she wins the all around gold medal too. So kind of a good redemption story, I think. So she's up there. Katie Ledecky, I mean, some of the races that she was in, like there's nobody else in the shot when she's coming to the line. So I gotta acknowledge the two goats. And I don't know, I guess the last one, it's very memorable, but it has to be Noah Lyles. Like, I don't know. I have to say Noah Lyles. Uh, you know, very controversial athlete, but he is right about one thing. He does draw in viewers for track. Like whether you like him or not, people watch him race and you know, I don't even know which moment was better. Him winning the gold or him losing the 200 meter and then he gets COVID 2 hours later. Like like I don't know. That was a little shaky, but I would say those two. And then probably the honorable mention for me, shout out to Cole Hawker, probably the underdog story, I would say, winning the I think he was the 1500. So I'll say those five for me. Gotta acknowledge
Okay.
the goats.
Yeah, honestly, it's funny. I wrote down the exact same thing. So I had USA basketball as one. Another one, I literally had two goats, Katie Ledecky and Simone Biles. I mean, the greatest athletes in their respective sport of all time. So had to tip my cap to them. I kind of grouped the track and field stuff all together. So Noah Lyles, I'm glad you brought up the Gabby Thomas one. That was impressive. For me, the other one that was insanely impressive was Sydney McLaughlin Lavrone. I mean,
Mm,
that like her hurdles, like I can't fathom how she runs her hurdles that fast. It's because that's like as fast as people without the hurdle. I can't even like imagine
yeah.
how she does that. So that was another one. My wanted to shout out to Scotty Scheffler, bringing home the gold. I mean, that's a great one. Golf tournament to add to your career. It's not a major, but even rarer than having a major because this one's only once every 4 years. So for him to bring home the gold, I think he had to come back to do it. Had to tip my cap to him. And I was trying to get one that wasn't like maybe a gold medal. So I was trying to like think back and remember. My fifth overall moment, I guess, was when they were showing pictures. Like I was watching the like overall gymnastics and then the individual gymnastics of like Suni Lee. I didn't realize how bad her like it was like the kidney disease, right? Um,
Yeah, like she's just lucky she's even in the Olympics. Like she's
yeah,
just grateful to be here and she's like she medals. It's
and,
crazy.
but because you hear like kidney disease and you might not understand like because even I couldn't. It's like, oh, how bad is it, kind of thing. But then when they would show pictures of her, like she can't even stand up at like the Auburn events that she was at, and she's like clearly not like physically in that shape we were used to seeing her in. And so because I was looking at her on the TV and like the pictures they were showing, I'm like, oh my God, how do you come back from that physically and mentally,
That
right?
fast too.
Yeah. So I don't just had to tip my cap because that was a crazy comeback story. So it's kind of her tied with Rebecca Andrade, the other
That was a cool
gymnast,
moment.
because for her to finally get her gold, kind of being in the shadow of Simone Biles, and that's a
She
hard
beat her. She beat her.
yep, but right, that's a hard place to be, in the shadow of a goat. But like you said, she came out on top in a couple events, so had to tip your cap to her as well. So those are kind of my she was I know she was in the US, but I just thought, man, to overcome, like you never beat them, you never beat them, you never beat them, and you finally do, deservedly so. I thought that was a cool moment. So yeah, I think that'll pretty much
Wait,
do it.
I got one more thing for the Olympics.
Okay.
I want to shout out Hugh
Oh
Hoffman.
yeah.
Hugh
Duh.
Watanabe
How did I forget about that?
had
Yeah.
a significant moment. He was on Bleacher Report. I saw gave Rudy Gobert the business at the rim. Sent them stuffed. So
Okay,
gotta
yeah.
shout out Hugh
Got to shout out
Hoggman.
to Hugh.
Had
Yeah,
blocked Rudy Gobert, man. That was a key moment for us UP guys.
yeah. Our fellow pilot, fellow
Hayato,
Hawaii
where's your
guy.
moment?
Yeah, Hayato. We're still waiting on you. Yeah, that was cool. How could I forget that one? Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, shout out to Hugh. It was funny though because when I saw Hugh Watanabe, I was like, oh yeah, I guess he has to go by Watanabe since he's in Japan. So it's like, oh yeah. But nah, shout out to Hugh on that one. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so we'll close the book on the Olympics for the next 4 years, Matt. Um, Getting to some college football now because week 0 was upon us last weekend. I know. Thank you for the invite to the game, Matt. Honestly, I was kind of on the fence. I was like, yeah, I could go, I could not. And then the tropical storm reports started coming in, and I was like, you know what? I'll be good. I'm good. I don't need to sit through 2.5 hours of frustration potentially in bad weather. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm good. Let me just watch this one on TV. And I'm glad I did because I knew exactly. I would have been complaining next to you. We would have been complaining for 2.5 hours. I would have been like, why did I come to this game? This is a waste
Hey,
of
the
time.
tickets are free. It's okay.
Yeah, but
Free tickets.
free to stand in tropical storm slash hurricane, residual weather. Not
My
worth it.
seat was soaked. The
So
bleachers were soaked, but I had the rain
yeah,
jacket, so I was okay.
okay, that's good. But let's get into the actual game itself, Matt. So UH taking on Delaware State, and you look at the box score, 35-14. Okay, sounds good. And then you kind of put everything into perspective. First of all, Delaware State 39 and a point and a half underdogs. I believe is what they closed at. I saw some places were had 40, some was 39 and a half. So either way, FCS school coming from literally across the country to here, right? You're expected to go out and dominate, especially at UH, at Ching Stadium. That's kind of what you expect. But, you know, getting into the game itself, right, started off pretty well, I think. Jumped out to an early 14-0 lead, and I'm like, okay, guys, feeling good. Defense doing their thing in the first quarter. Yeah, this is what should be happening. So 14-0 after the first, it's like, okay, you can live with that, 2 touchdowns a quarter. That should be more than doable. And, keep this Delaware team under 10, honestly, under 2 scores, really. It is what should
Mhm.
have happened. And so lo and behold, Matt, just couldn't be completely happy after the first game of the season because you blink and it's 14-14. What? Huh? Like, what just happened? Already, when it was 14-7 going into the half, I'm like, just the disappointment that I had. It's like, oh my gosh, are we gonna do this again, guys? Like, really, after how last season ended, on such a promising note, I would say that for us to show up in that first half offensively, and I'm not a huge Braden Shager guy, but I think I believe in him more than you, and definitely more than Wade, because
Your
that's all
brother
I'm gonna
is
say.
the anti
Oh yes. Oh
UHQB
yes.
guy.
That I know for sure. But
Yeah.
even after that first quarter, you can't blame it all on him. They must have had 3 or 4 drops
The
by
drops.
receivers on good balls as well, hitting like literally right in the hands. So, I'm gonna give Braden a pass on that. I'll come back to the play calling because that's a whole nother thing. I'll get into some of that stuff as well later on. But I'm not going to give, not going to braid it too hard for those drops and everything. But just so stagnant. I thought they got offensively in that second, third quarter. Really depended on Tylen Hines to give them the spark, who we'll get to in a little bit. But then finally able to pull away late in the fourth. Some good throws, good runs by Braden. I thought had to use his legs way more than he should have needed to. But good to see, he's at least willing to lay it out on the line. It's senior season, took some pretty good licks, honestly, but he's a big kid. He's a tough kid. Hopefully, he doesn't take too many of hits like that early on in the season because of, it's a third, you got 12 games left now. We still want him to survive until the end of the year. So overall, I think I'm like at a C minus D plus for this, like maybe C minus. It's like barely passing for me. You're lucky it was the first week, but when you take into some of the other stuff, and I didn't even mention this, but I'm sure you heard Matt Delaware State missed their initial bus, and so they didn't even get to Hawaii until I believe it was Thursday night. So
Yeah. It was
yeah,
like half the team came in Wednesday, half the team came Thursday.
and that's just like so ridiculous. So many things, pitted against them. Got a shout out to them for hanging tough, as long as they did. Then they were pretty scrappy. I don't know if you could see it from the sidelines, but they were talking a lot. They were chirping. There was extracurriculars you could see on TV, like the camera would pick up, just like extra pushes, shoves here and there. So they came in with an attitude. Um, at least UH bounced back. Was able to hold their own. Didn't let them get too much in their heads, but I'm sure you have a lot to say, Matt. So I'll let you go and give me your overall takes from this one.
Well, to be honest, I gotta admit, didn't really pay attention too much to the game. I got a little sidetracked, more focused on drinking my beer at some points of the game, because that's just kind of how the game felt for me, to be honest. But I want to talk about your first point about Shager. Okay, maybe I'm not the hugest fan of him, but I do recognize that without him this year, we're going to be really, really, really bad. Like we need Braden Shager to play well, and to his credit, I thought he did okay. He wasn't bad, he wasn't great, but he was okay. The one throw that really, really I did not like was it was late in the game. He had Ashlock wide open for a touchdown.
Oh
Nobody.
man.
That was a that was a bad throw. That was a bad throw. And then it was short too. He didn't like overthrow it. He and it's like it's not the NFL, right? You can't just get down and get back up
Poor
if you're not
Ashlock. He
touched.
got robbed of a touch right
Yeah.
there.
So it's like, come on, like whoever the OC, I don't know who the OC is, but like, could you not call like a high percentage pass to
Just
give
don't
Ashok the
fade.
touchdown?
Give him a
Like,
chance, man. He deserved it.
or like a yeah, like or just a bubble screen, like is this something like a jet, the touch pass? I don't know, something. I feel like he deserved it there. You're up. You can kind of afford to get a little tricky, but whatever. I think we can talk about that later. But outside of that, I thought I knew from the first drive of the game it wasn't going to be pretty. I'm thinking, oh, 40 point spread. Yeah, these guys are nothing. We go 3-and-out on our first 3-and-out, 3-and-out on your first drive of the season, and they had 2nd-and-1. So they had nice play. Shager, rocket completes it. Oh, okay, Braden. Nice zip on that throw. 2nd-and-1, they call a simple screen. Simple wide receiver screen. Alex Perry drops the ball. I'm like, okay, that's not a good sign. It was right in his chest. 3rd-and-1. Okay, maybe you want to consider, a run here. Get Landon Sims a touch early, or a simple high leverage RPO. Short pass. What do they do? Drop back and throw like a 10-yard curl. Like, why are you gonna call a long developing play when you just need 1 yard? Like, don't you want to get your offense in a rhythm early in the game, especially the quarterback? Like, get Shager in a rhythm, and then once from there, he can start, throwing the Shager bombs and expanding the playbook. But you got to let your offense get into a rhythm early. And the one thing you can't do is go 3-and-out against Delaware State. Sorry. I know that's a little harsh, but that's where I know I was like, this is not good. And really, the offense didn't really impress me. I thought the defense was kind of hard to give a true analysis because these guys weren't that good. But to their credit, they did kind of hold. I mean, 14 points that'll work, I guess, at a bare minimum. But kind of hard to truly get a read because I don't think this team was that good offensively. But where I was more disappointed on was we should have been torching this team with Braden Shager. I thought I expected more. And really outside, if you take out that punt return by Tylen Hines, 28 points offensively for the entire game. Not not the kind of showing you want to see, maybe. But like you said, first game, maybe they just need to get it out. I get it. Get used to the system, get used to, the chemistry. But yeah, I was not impressed. And also, I don't know when you want to talk about this, but I wanted to see more Tylen Hines. He was, they convert him to a kind of, I guess he's a receiver now, but gadget guy. Why don't we use our gadget guy a little bit more, guys? Get the playmakers the ball more. So that's what I gotta say going forward for this team because UCLA it's gonna be a different beast, I think.
I just think, I understand you need to develop your identity offensively. I get it. We're a run and shoot team. We want to put up points. I like the tempo to start. I thought that was really good. Incorporating some of this new changes in the college landscape, the the radio inside of the helmet from the
Mm-hmm.
coach, right? I think that's going to be a huge development throughout the college space this year. And I like that, they came in innovative. Hey, yeah, let's go tempo because you don't need to wait to, get the hand signs and signals from the sideline anymore. Timmy to Braden, let's go. I like that. I thought that was great. And like you said, in a rhythm, boom, first play, 9 yards. Okay, second play. Okay, yeah, drop. All right. And I understand, like I said, playing to your identity. But at a certain point, can we realize that we are a Division 1 school with Division 1 talent and nothing against Delaware State? They're an FCS team, right? Like we should just be a little bit better. We should, on paper, talent wise. So let's establish some of that, muscle and go establish our physical, dominance over them. Start in the trenches. And I thought that was a perfect opportunity. Like you said, Landon Sims, fresh off of a scholarship, that he was just awarded. Let's get him a touch early, get our offensive line rolling, get this team moving forward. And we're gonna pass in the hurricane-ish weather, that kind of environment, right
It was
off of
raining. It was raining at that time.
and right off of a drop pass too, right? Like, may I add? And so it's like, okay, well, it was a pretty easy drop. Was that a weather thing? Hey, maybe, I don't let's see what happens, but I don't want to risk it on the first drive, 3rd and 1. I would have ran the ball. I just don't quite understand in that situation. So that's where I was just kind of like, yeah, can we have established some of our, like the physicalness of this offense a little bit just to get it going in less than ideal conditions? It's one thing if it's a perfect day in Hawaii, you know what I'm saying? Like, and yeah, let's drop Shager bombs, but it's raining, it's windy, it's not ideal conditions to be throwing the ball all over the field. I was just a little bit confused by that. And so that was the first thing. And like you said, Matt, Tylen Hines, who we both had going to last year as our guy to watch throughout the whole year, right? We remember the freshman year, he had, the spurts that he would show on the field, his speed, his dynamic playmaking ability, and they just whatever he was hurt. We still don't really know what happened last year, why they
He
didn't utilize
redshirted.
him, and so they did. Okay, so he did redshirt. Um, and yeah, I mean, the first punt, or I mean, the punt that he returned for a touchdown, is that not proof enough to just get this guy the ball in open space? I mean, helped us really when we were kind of in a lull offensively. So he provides an
Mm-hmm.
instant spark. But on offense, like, did he? I don't think he got a single touch on the
No
offensive
touches.
side of the ball. And I'm just so confused. Like, honestly, just so confused. Can we not, like, an outside run, like an in hand, just give him the ball, maybe? Give him a chance to get to the second level. He was a running back. He knows how to play running back, right? And so, can we do that? Like you said, nice little bubble screen. Just get him the ball in space and go make something happen. I don't understand. Maybe, he's not really adjusted to that wide receiver position just yet, but I can't. I'm like going through my mind. How do we not get him a touch? He was special teams player of the week, and yeah, he only housed one, but he had several good returns the entire night. Like, he looks good. He's making guys miss. He's showing you the burst. I would like to see him get involved this coming week against UCLA when we're gonna need guys to make plays. So, just
That's the
not sure what
thing.
happened
Hawaii
there.
Hawaii lacks like that impact player. Like you go back to the great Hawaii teams. Who do we have? Like back in the Sugar Bowl team, Devon Best, like Grice, those guys, pure playmakers. Like you just get them the ball, they're gonna make Polaris. I guess Polaris for that team, and then the other team with
Greg
Moniz, right? But you
Salas,
had
yeah,
Salas, Alex Green, like you get all these talented guys. But Hawaii, there's only a few I would say on this team. I would say Ashlock is one of them,
Ashlock,
probably the main one. But Stephen McBride, we don't know the situation with him, but obviously he's not playing yet. I don't know if he is, but that's another guy. And then to me, the next guy in line is Tylen. So with McBride out, wouldn't you find a way to get him the ball? And okay, maybe he's not used to being a receiver yet. Maybe he doesn't have to run routes. Use him like what do you call it? Like Debo Samuel, jet sweep. You know, line him up in the backfield occasional to spot Sims, or do some kind of two back set, right? 12 for like I don't know. There's so many wrinkles you can do with that asset, and it's like they just I want to see more of it next week. They need to figure out a way to get him the ball because yeah, we lack playmaking on this team big time, and it's really coming down to Shager. Shager's kind of our guy. We're gonna have to ride him. I'm sorry Wade, but Shager is kind of the key to this. But if he can get some help from his playmakers, makes his job easier as a quarterback.
I agree. And I will say the one caveat, yeah, he didn't play great, but no turnovers. I think that's going to be a huge thing. Just don't give the ball away. He made. I thought he made better decisions. There weren't any. Well, there weren't a ton of throws that I thought, oh my goodness, like,
Yeah.
oh no, like we are kind of accustomed to seeing. So it was good to see him, make good decisions, take care of the ball. I thought that was promising because we're definitely going to need that next week against UCLA. So yeah. Other than that, did you want to make a prediction on this week, Matt? Or let's say the spread. I think it got bumped to 14. It was 12.5 before the Delaware State game. I think after everyone watched that, they're like, okay, they're taking UCLA to cover. So it's 14 now. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Based on what I saw in the first game, I mean, I'm gonna pick UCLA, I think, right now to win. I'll say initially, what'd you say, 14 is a spread? I'll say UCLA wins by I'll say they win by like 17 to like 34-17. Because I really was not impressed with the offense. I really was not impressed with Hawaii offense. So I need to see more to to believe that they can win a shootout or win a certain type of way. Because if they're gonna win on pure defense, great. But college football, you kind of need offense to like. Sorry, that's it's not the NFL. Like we're not the Steelers. Like we can't just win and have a hellacious defense that's going to hold teams to 10 points. I don't think that's going to be Hawaii at all ever. So if we don't have ability to score points at a high level, it's hard to win, especially against a Division 1 big school in UCLA. So I'll say like 34-17.
Okay. Honestly, I'm gonna say we cover. I think we cover 14, but I think it's we backdoor. We cover like in the
Like
fourth
garbage
quarter,
time.
garbage time kind of thing. I'm gonna say you said 35-17. I was thinking more like, yeah, 34 to 21 type of thing. I think we just barely
They
cover,
cover.
like barely cover by 13. So
Okay.
my only reasoning going into that is UH had a week of game reps. And so
That is
I'm
true.
hoping we clean it up and we're at home, which does matter for UH. And it's a big time opponent, but it's not like they're such a juggernaut that we should be intimidated. But it's like a team. It's like, okay, yeah, let's go shock everyone and win this game, right? It's kind of like you have something to prove, but it's not. They're not so intimidating towards like, oh, we have no chance. So I do think that matters, and I think I'm just praying that UCLA on the flip side, it's their first game, so they haven't had the game reps. This is not just a gimme first game for them either, right? Like they're gonna have to come out and play some quality football to beat us at TC Ching Stadium. So that's why I think we do cover. I think UCLA probably still does win, but I do think UH does cover. So that would be my prediction for this week, Matt.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
I think that's how I'm feeling. Real quick, if you want to do, we can touch on the CFP expanded playoffs this year, going to 12 teams. We don't need to give maybe predictions per se, but yeah, is there anything you wanted to kind of comment on with the 12 team? I know we've been asking for this for a while, so
I think it's gonna be fun in December when those games count. You're gonna see. I mean, you're probably gonna have the same problems, meaning like those bubble
the
teams,
13,
13, 14, 15.
14.
Like, oh, how come we're not in? Like, no matter what, they're always gonna have that situation. But I think it's nice to see that I believe the non-power five has a representative regardless. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like the highest ranked non-power five school gets a bid in the tournament, no matter what. So hey, Hawaii, if you guys run the table, we can be national champions. It's possible. It's possible. But I think I'm just excited to see if one of those teams can pull off really it's gonna be a big upset because a team like that probably is gonna be the 12 seed, right? So you're gonna play the 5 seed in the tournament, which means it's probably a team that, came close to winning their champion. So it's probably going to be like the SEC champion or the SEC loser, the runner up. So let's say Georgia and Alabama championship game, the loser maybe will play Liberty or something like at Alabama or at Georgia. So I think it's going to be interesting to see who somebody will do it eventually, I think, but who is going to be that team that kind of shocks the world first and proves that the now non-power five guys can compete with the big dogs. But for Oregon's sake, we can talk about Oregon later. They didn't play yet. They play next week. But it gives me a little bit of a safety net, I think, with the
Mhm.
Big Ten now, juggernaut, going to have a lot of teams in the CFP. At least they don't have to go undefeated or go with just one loss, right? You can maybe lose 2 or 3 games now and sneak into the playoffs. So I think it's good for college football. I think we'll see a lot of exciting games down the stretch.
Yeah, that's the only thing I think will be interesting. It's is a two-loss team versus a no loss or one loss warranted a higher seeding now? I think that'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. First year implementing this, but I don't know, Matt. Is Florida State going to be in the college football playoff after that showing in the first week? Like DJ,
Honestly,
man, come
I
on.
hope
I
not. I hope they're not in the playoff. After they complained last year about the we should be in the playoff. Go make a
albeit
statement.
it's a
Go
new
make a
quarterback.
statement.
It's DJ who has is I believe on his third team now after
Hmm.
from Clemson to Oregon State to Florida State, right? So I mean, not a great showing for them, but the
That was
good thing
bad.
is they have time. If they
That
go
is
run
true.
the
You
table,
gotta lose early.
I'm sure, they are more than capable of coming back and claiming at least a top 12 seed. So at least they do have a chance. This is the good thing now about this whole system, right? The teams still
Yeah.
have a chance, right?
The one junk part is Georgia. That's a conference game. Georgia Tech and that's an ACC game week one. So that's a tough blow. Maybe that might come into play with the Clemsons and like we don't know, but having a conference loss week one or week zero is pretty. That's a tough one to swallow. I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, I think we'll wrap on college football for now, Matt, and get into the NFL talk. The NFL season is officially how many days away are we? We're like about 10, 11 days away now from the
First
start of the
game is
NFL season.
Thursday, so
So,
eight,
about
nine. I can't do math right now.
anyway, the NFL season starts next week. We're excited. I'm sure football fans everywhere are excited. We got fantasy drafts. I'm sure everyone's in their fantasy draft season now. So you got that to look forward to, and just the return of football, right? Who doesn't love that? So getting into it, of course, me being the Dolphins fan that I am, Matt, you being the Cowboys fan that you are. This week only, we will be talking about those two teams. Next week, we'll get into kind of the overall NFL landscape stuff, headlines, storylines to look out for, all that stuff. But we'll stick with this week and we'll stick with two big signings over the offseason. So with my Dolphins, Tua got extended. He got his contract. The drama's over. He can go play ball now. He didn't get the big money, but he got around that Jared Goff money a little bit more, which, I think that's a pretty safe bet to say that he deserved overall. I get he hasn't won the playoff game yet, but I think after the showings we've seen the past 2 years with Mike McDaniel at the helm, with this collection of talent, that yeah, he is the franchise guy for this team moving forward. So good for him. Good to see that. A lot of these players did get paid. Just I think Javon Holland's the one they're kind of waiting on, but Jalen got paid. Tyreek got his extension. Right. So good to see for all these guys. Other than that, yeah, I don't need to spend too much time on it. Glad the deal did get done. You, Matt, yours is a little more breaking today. I'm sure you
Finally,
can, yeah, you can breathe a sigh of relief that CD got his money. Just thoughts on the contract though? Underpaid, he deserved, overpaid, anything like that?
I mean, in CD's fairness, I mean, I personally would have asked for more than Justin Jefferson to be the highest paid receiver in the league. But I mean, $1 less a year, not gonna be anything crazy. But happy for CD that he got his bag. Obviously, well deserved. I think he's best football receiver in the league, but everybody can have their own opinions. But I think it's more bittersweet for me because I'm happy CD's staying, 88 club stays together. But it's like, why? It's just like, why does it take so long when you know like he's gonna sign? Like, why didn't you just do it earlier? And I'm not talking to anybody else but my stupid owner. Like, why does it take this long when you know he's gonna be part of your future? Like, it just doesn't make sense. He talks about, oh yeah, we want to save money. We spend so much money. Why don't you help yourself out and look at the market? If all these guys are signing boom boom boom, like maybe you want to sign CD since you know he's going to be on your team. You could have saved yourself, a few $1 million a year if you just signed him maybe last year, maybe at the start of free agency. Like it could have been any other time, but you decided to wait all this time now, and now it maybe hurts your team too because CD has to get ready and get in game shape in 2 weeks when everybody else has had a full preseason, a full off-season workout, like everything. And CD has to get ready in 10 days for the first game. And if he doesn't do well, then it's like, oh, come like CD, they're gonna hear all the noise. So it's like you're just I don't know. That's just bad business right there. Bad business. But I don't need to talk about him all the time because it's going to be a common theme, I think, this year with Mr. Jones, as it always is this year. Yeah. Hey, with the CD signing, I'm a little interested to see what they do with this boy right here, Dak Prescott. I think there's a lot of noise around his camp. Is he going to re-sign or not? I mean, I personally think if he doesn't resign by the start of the season, week one, this might be his last dance in Dallas. Because I don't know. If you know Dak's the guy, you should just pay him already. But nah, Jerry's just waiting it out, waiting it out. So either he doesn't want Dak back or I don't know. I really don't know what goes through Jerry's mind because he had some kind of ridiculous interview comment today. So we'll get to that later, by the way. But I'm just curious to see now what they do with Dak over the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, that could be an interesting one. It always is, right? But yeah, I don't want to get too much into it because I'm gonna hear a lot of Dak, I'm gonna hear a lot of Jerry, I'm gonna hear a lot of Cowboys in the next 6-7 months, whatever it is. So I don't want to get into it right now. Not week one of season 4.
It's not
So
even
let's do
week
our
one yet.
yeah, let's do our record predictions, Matt. Real quick, we'll just run through each game, give a little blurb about each one. You being the fanatic, of course, we always start with your Cowboys. So why don't you go ahead, run us through each game real quick. Give us your prediction, a little blurb as to why you feel that way, and we'll see what the record is at the end.
You want to do each game or just do total record?
You can just like run through each game really quick.
Okay.
Like just say the
I'll be
opponent,
like
win loss.
all right.
Yeah. Some of
I'll
them
do
are
like
self-explanatory, so you don't need to.
I'll do like a Chris Berman, his like 2 minute drill thing.
Oh,
Just
that's
go boom boom boom.
yeah, that's talent though. I don't think we're talented
Yeah.
enough to be Chris Berman.
Okay, fine. Week 1 at Cleveland. I think we win that one. I don't know. Maybe being the delusional Cowboy fan, I think we win that. Nick Chubb's out. Yeah, defense is going to be good on the Browns, but I got to see more from Deshaun. So I know what I'm going to get with Dak, CD. We still got talent on that side of the ball, and obviously we got the Lion. Trayvon Diggs is back, so we got talent. I think we win that one. Next week, week 2, New Orleans at home. I think we win that one too. Derek Carr. That's probably just all I got to say right there. Week 3, Baltimore at home. That's a tough one. Try to be as unbiased as possible. I think we'll drop that one because somehow we can't stop the run. Well, at least with Dan Quinn, we couldn't stop the run. Maybe Mike Zimmer's team will be different, but I need to see it in the regular season to believe it. So
Good luck.
I think we lose that one. Yeah, I know. Prayers for that one. Next week, Thursday night at the Giants. I think we win that one. Daniel Jones is on the other side. There you go. Next week, week 5 at Pittsburgh, Sunday Night Football. They don't have a quarterback yet. That's all you need to know. I think we win that one. Okay. After 5 weeks, so I am 4-1 right now.
4-1. 4-1.
Week 6 versus Detroit. Now, this is probably the tough part of the schedule for Dallas. Detroit is tricky. Detroit is very tricky. A lot of hype this year, but we're at home. I think we win that one. What am I? 5-1. Week 7, we have a bye. And then we get to week 8, my favorite team in the whole wide world to play at San Fran. Last year, went to that game in person, was awful. I need to see it to believe it. I think we lose that one too. Again, sadly. So we dropped that one. So what am I now? I
Six
can't even
and
keep
two,
track already. I'm 6-2. Okay.
or 5-2. Five
At
and two. Sorry.
5-2. Yep. So at Atlanta. This is a tough one. Kirk Cousins. I'll say we lose that one. I say we lose that one on the road. Tough one. 5-3. Next week we go back home. We play the Eagles. It's always tough with those guys, but anytime you're at home, I'm gonna pick them. So I say we beat the Eagles in that one. Next week, Houston, Monday Night Football at home, the Diggs Bowl, the Micah Parsons,
Micah and CJ.
CJ Stroud content. Should be pretty entertaining. Battle of Texas. Give me the Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys. Okay, what am I at? I really can't keep track of my record right now. I'm at 7-3. Okay. Next week at Washington, Jaden Daniels, tough one. Tough one. I think we dropped that one. I think the Commanders might be a little sneaky. We're always due for a slip up. I think there's always that one game. Give it to me there. So 7-4. Next week, week 13, Giants come to us Thanksgiving Day. We don't lose on Turkey Day at home against Daniel Jones. Sorry, we win that one. 8-3. 8-3. Am I 8-3?
8-4.
This is so bad. 8-4. I can't even keep track already. All right, we get the extended bye week 14 Monday night against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I think we dropped this one. Joe Burrow, he'll be back, coming for vengeance. Prove to the league why he's one of the top quarterbacks. I think we lose there. Next week, week 15 at Carolina. Yeah, at Carolina, we win. Week 16 at home against the Bucks. I say we beat the Bucks because it's Sunday Night Football. We're going to rise to the occasion, take care of business there. Week 17 at the Eagles. I always predict splits home and away with this rivalry. It's too intense. Two good teams. I say we drop this one. And then last week, finish out at home against the Commanders. We're not going to lose twice to the Commanders. We'll win at home. So we
11-6.
Week 18. 11-6. Last year, I did say 12-5, and I nailed it. So I got 11-6 this year.
I'm surprised. I thought you'd be 12-5 again. I think you guys beat the Commanders twice. I think you beat the Commanders twice, but hey, it's your team.
Hey, so. Maybe we'll be 11-5 because we have the division under wraps in week 18, and we might have to use it as a bye week, so we lose that one. Oh, but wait, Cooper Rush is still on the team, so we're gonna win that one anyway. So I forgot, unless they give Trey Lance more reps for some reason.
And how did you find a way to talk about Cooper Rush? That's incredible,
bro. It's the GOATs last year in Dallas.
Dedication.
It's the GOATs last year in Dallas. Crazy. 11-6. That's
11-6. I respect that. That's a very conservative record prediction for you. I appreciate the biases, whatever.
We're not English majors.
Yeah, whatever. I'll get to my Dolphins real quick. It's gonna be interesting, I think, this year for these Dolphins.
Who is your schedule?
Schedule is tough. Here, I'll run it through real quick. So
I pulled it up, so I'll follow along.
Week 1 at Jacksonville, big test. Not at Jacksonville. We get Jacksonville at home, big test. I think Trevor Lawrence has a lot to prove. That being said, Tua just got his new contract. This team is a September-October team, if we're being completely honest. I think they pick up right where they left off from the beginning of last year, and we beat Jacksonville game 1. I believe that. So start off 1-0, going against Buffalo, Thursday Night Football, bailing out the Bills, I might add, because the one thing about playing in Miami in September is the heat, right? and that was a factor in the one win they've had against Buffalo in the past several years. Buffalo gets to avoid that this year, but I think with the new offense, new weapons, no Matt Milano on that defense, there no Jordan Poyer. They're losing a lot. They lost a lot of key guys. I think early on it's going to be too much for the Bills to overcome, and Miami takes round one at home against the Bills. So I'll go 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah, it's going to sound a little the schedule. I just saying going to be a lot of wins in the front, and then they're going to struggle on the back end. Week 3 at Seattle, I think that'll be a good one. I'm going to be there, so I
You're gonna be
hope it's a
cheering
win.
your heart out.
I'm going to be cheering my heart out. I hope it's a win. I don't get me wrong though, Seattle, I think they are going to be a really good team this year. Always difficult to play, but I think this will be a good test. I think it will be close. But give me Miami. I think Miami comes out ahead in this one. Yeah, give me Miami. Tennessee, oh man, they've been waiting for this game since last year, up 28-14 to be able to secure home field advantage in the playoffs and not be able to do that. This is a bittersweet game for them. They get them back in Miami. I think they're gonna go full forces, all out. Mike's gonna pull out all the stops because they are pissed at Tennessee. Trust me. So I think they go 4-0. And they get New England again. I'm taking them against New England. I'm sorry. I know Drake May looks promising. Whoever's the quarterback is going to be, but I think they're just still in that rebuilding phase. So give me Miami over New England. And we have an early bye. I think the early bye is kind of unfortunate for this team. I think they could have used it a little bit later on. But coming off of the bye, I think they're going to be well rested. I think this is a good one. Or I think it'll be a good game against Anthony Richardson, but I still don't know what I'm getting with AR. I still think too many turnovers from what I've been seeing right now. And with hopefully by then, Bradley Chubb will be back after the bye. I think they'll be well rested. I think they win that one 6-0. This next one, I think is going to be the first slip up, like the first kind of like hiccup. Kyler Murray, I think I'm predicting he's going to have a really good year. Like you said, there's always one. There's always one, right, Matt, that you're not expecting them to lose or drop.
At home though?
I still think, yeah, I think, I don't know. I think there's something about Kyler. I think he's going to have a better year this year, but give me Arizona in this one. So I think that's going to be their first slip up. At Buffalo the following week, I think that's a loss just because they're going to be in Buffalo. This one, Monday night against the Rams in SoFi Stadium. I think this is going to be a good game. But the Rams do not have Aaron Donald anymore. They are going to be inside in a dome. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be fairly high scoring, but I think this is going to be one of the marquee road wins for this Miami Dolphins team, playing outside or inside the dome, I should say. So give me that win. The Raiders, they're beating the Raiders. I don't even know who they're. Gardner Minshew. Yeah, give me the Raiders. And New England the following week as well. So that'll bring us to 9-2. And now we get into the real ugly part of their schedule. So if they are 9-2 going into week 13, I'm going to feel really good because I think at Lambeau in November, yeah, that's going to be one that they struggle with. So actually give me the Packers over Miami in that one. The Jets,
9-3.
9-3. The Jets, it's going to be tough, but like I said, they will be in Miami for this one. I think they're going to split. So give me this game against the Jets, 10-3. And now it gets real ugly. I think, man, this Houston one, it's going to be tough. I do think I'm going to give the slight nod to Houston here because I think this is going to be the 2-week stretch in the season where people start to doubt Miami once again. I think they lose back to back against Houston and the Niners, which will bring them to 10-5. And then it's gut check time. They're 10-5. They're going to be right on the bubble. I think win to get in, or win to secure a spot in the playoffs this next week at Cleveland. And I think that game is going to be the game that finally puts them over the hump as a team that can win in the cold weather, in the ugly weather games. I'm looking at that week 17 at Cleveland. I think it's an ugly one, but I think they get it done, bringing them to 11-5. And if everything goes well, they will have hopefully division on lock by then, at 11 wins, I might add, because I think the Bills and the Jets, they're going to be good, but I think they're going to both be around 9 or 10. So I'm hoping that 11 is enough to win the division. They get to rest, going into MetLife, which is a cursed stadium for this team. Knock on wood. That they don't have to play any starters in that game. Finish 11-6 with the division, I might add. So I know, kind of weird that 11 wins the division, but I just think the AFC is real tough. The Bills and the Jets, I think the Jets are going to be better. I think the Bills are going to be a little bit worse. So I have them both at around 10 wins. So that's my optimistic prediction, somewhat realistic prediction there. But I'm really hoping for 11 wins. I think 11 wins is a good benchmark for this team.
That's crazy. We both had 12-5 last year. Both of them hit that.
Yeah.
This year we both weird how it played out. There was 11? No plan.
I thought Miami
you were one off. Yeah, you were one off.
Yeah, they went 11-6.
You said 11-6 last year. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
But you hit it. You nailed the prediction. I remember. So this year it's the lucky 11.
Yeah. So I don't know. I hope
11 from heaven.
Yeah, because they won 11-6 last year. I think it's gonna be the same. I think 11 wins can win the division. So just hoping they get to 11. Okay. That'll be good for our team predictions. We still have some time to go and do our annual season prediction awards. I don't even remember who won or who lost last year. Like I said, I'm going to be keeping track this year. No more forgetting from the previous 3 years. Oh my goodness. So why don't we start with the MVP, Matt? Just give it to me straight. Who you got?
I want to give my MVP last. No, I want to go last. That's like my last thing I'm going to announce.
Okay. So we'll go. Okay. I'll start with let's just do offensive player of the year then, in that case.
Ooh. Tough one. Last year McCaffrey won, right?
Mm-hmm.
So voter fatigue. I'm gonna rule him out. I think I'm gonna go. Trying to be unbiased here. I'll go with Tyreek. I think Tyreek, your boy. It's a safe pick. I think he's still one of the top dogs in the league. I mean, he's the most explosive player in football. You got a guy like that, he can put up numbers instantly, I think. So I'll say Tyreek. Tyreek gets it back on track as offensive player of the year.
Okay. The only reason maybe this is because I have a little bit of insight, but they kind of mentioned that they were trying to get him to 2K last year. So they've acknowledged that they do not care about that anymore, and they will not be force feeding him the ball as much. While he will still be the number one option, I think Jalen Waddle is going to have more touches. Therefore, he will have Tyreek's going to have less kind of on his plate. So I'm going to go with, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to go with another running back, actually. Surprise pick, maybe not, but I think Bijan is going to be
that's a good pick,
offensive player of the year. It was close, honestly. I was between him and Ceedee, honestly, because of the year that Ceedee had last year. I still think he'll produce, but the only reason I go with Bijan, he's out of that Arthur Smith dual running back system. I think they're going to try to get him the ball more, and just seeing him with the ball in space, with Kirk at the helm, I think it'll be a fun Falcons offense to watch. But I think Bijan's going to get a lot of the red zone touches and touchdowns. Whether it's off check down, handoff, screen, whatever the case may be. I think he's just so dynamic around the goal line. He knows how to get in the end zone. So give me Bijan Robinson from Atlanta.
Okay, I like that pick. I like that
Yeah.
pick.
So defensive player of the year. Do I even need to think, or am I
Dude,
just
I have to get it right 1 year. Like it's just like it has to be 1 year. 1 year I will get this right. Maybe it's this year, but 11 from heaven, Micah Parsons. I'm gonna stick with him until he can't prove it otherwise. But the guy is a dog. He's a dog. And I just need him to be a little more consistent at the back end of the season. But I'm gonna ride with the guy. I think he's right in the prime of his career. TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, solid players. Obviously, they have their moments, but now it's time for this new wave to come in. I think it's Micah's turn to get it.
okay? I'm gonna go. I was like, you know what? I'm so bored of all these like same picks and like over and over. Give me Brian Burns. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Brian Burns from the Giants. I watch Hard Knocks, so I'm excited for what Brian Burns is gonna do in New York. I think he's gonna be the highlight of that defense with uh Dexter Lawrence. Yeah. Brian Burns, my long shot. I know the easy one is Micah. It's easy to say. It'll probably be Miles or TJ Watt again, honestly. But no, my long shot
Probably.
pick, I want it to be Brian Burns. Not just going with the basic answer. So that's what I'm
Okay,
going with.
that's
Okay.
solid.
Rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year.
Whew. There's a lot of choices here, actually. Tough one for me, but I'm gonna go with Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels slightly over Caleb because I think Jaden's gonna use his legs more, and I think that's gonna be kind of appealing to see from a fan's perspective. The dude, he can literally be Lamar Jackson if it turns out the right way. I think he has that kind of potential. He's dynamic with the ball in his hands, and hey, Washington, I think they're building something there. I think so. Give me Jaden Daniels as my offensive rookie of the year.
Okay. I'm gonna go receiver actually. Gonna go with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay,
As a rookie of the year. I do think Caleb and Jaden will have good years, but I still think they're gonna have their struggles. I don't know how many games they're gonna win. I think Caleb is set up to win more. I think, yeah, you like the Dan Quinn aspect up in Washington, but they're still in the NFC East. They got to play the Cowboys and the Eagles, right? So I think that's going to be a little bit tough. Even that NFC North is no joke, but I think with Marvin Harrison, he can kind of put up numbers without having to worry about winning necessarily. That's gonna to affect the award. So that's why I'm going with Marvin Harrison with my pick. So
last place
defense,
Cardinals.
yeah, defense.
Defense is it's so tough. I want to say like Cooper DeJean, but I can't pick an Eagle. Sorry, so I'm gonna pick Dallas Turner. I think
Yeah,
it's kind of reminds me of Will Anderson. A little bit that kind of player. I think he's gonna be a good player. I think that's a safe pick, but I'm trying to get it right. So I think Dallas Turner for me, rookie of the year.
yeah, and I'm going with another um edge guy. I'm gonna go with Laiatu Latu out of UCLA on the
Yeah, it
Colts.
was one of those two.
I just think him next to DeForest Buckner, you can only double so many guys on that defensive line. And I really liked him coming out of the draft. He was one of the guys that I was hoping would fall to Miami, which unfortunately he did not. So I'll go with him as my defense player of the year. Okay,
All
next
right.
up, coach of the year.
Ooh, this is This is so hard. I feel like I'm gonna take a swing at this one. I'll go with Raheem Morris for
Yeah,
Atlanta. I think with Kirk Cousins, obviously, I guess an upgrade from Desmond Ritter, an old Matt Ryan. So maybe he won't be as good as he was coming off the injury, but to Kirk's point, I think he's not a mobile quarterback, so doesn't really take away too much from what he can do, at least what he did previously. But they got nice pieces now. Obviously, Matthew Judon, uh, Simmons, right? He signed there too. AJ Terrell locked up, and then obviously, I think with I feel like they're gonna unleash Bijan this year. So I feel like that's gonna help them win some games this year. So give me Raheem Morris, Coach of the Year.
that was a good one. I was kind of thinking of Raheem. I was torn. I'm right between Mike McDaniel because I think he's going to lead them to their first playoff win in whatever 20 something years. So, but it's a regular season award, but wait, is it it's a regular season award, right?
Yep.
But I feel like they always kind of factor in the playoffs. You know what I mean? But honestly, no, my pick for coach of the year instead, I'm just gonna go with good old reliable Sean McVay. Um, of the Rams. I think he's gonna
Boy wonder.
yeah, I think they're just gonna have a really good team again. I think with a healthy Matt Stafford, they're gonna be battling with the Niners. I really think so. Puka in his second year. They got some guys. I just like the culture that they have. So give me a good old reliable Sean McVay for coach of the year. But I like the Raheem Mostert or the Raheem Morris one as well. I was gonna pick him, but I figured you were gonna say him, so I was like, let me think of someone else. Okay, Super Bowl matchup.
Are you into MVP now? I wanted to
No,
save
no,
the
no, no.
MVP.
Let's
MVP
do. You don't
last?
want to? Yeah, MVP last, right?
Okay. All right, all right, all right. Super Bowl matchup. Hmm.
Just say it. Just say it.
So in the AFC,
Oh God.
in the AFC, I have to pick the Chiefs. I'm sorry. Like I can't I have to pick Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, this guy is just ridiculous at this point. And until somebody beats him, I'll just pick them just to be on the safe side. NFC. NFC. Obviously, we know where my heart is, but I want to try to think outside the box here. Being maybe that I'm scarred from last year. Give me the Packers. Give me the Packers in the Super Bowl. I think Jordan Love, he's gonna have a big year this year. And I think this team might sneak up. It's gonna be a really like underdog, maybe like a Aaron Rodgers Super Bowl run. But I can't we can get into it later, but I just can't pick Detroit. I can't pick Detroit with Jared Goff. I just can't pick Jared Goff. I'm sorry. I think you have to have a quarterback that can just say, hey, you got to go win this game for us. Or we need a drive. Go get it for us. I think it comes down to those two teams, to be honest. But I can't trust Jared Goff. So give me Jordan Love. He looks like a baby Aaron Rodgers. And maybe we'll have a Super Bowl upset, but I would say Chiefs Packers to be crazy.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go on the flip side of you. I'm gonna stick with the Niners. I think just too good, just too much talent on that side. And my kind of surprise team that's gonna knock out Patrick Mahomes.
Don't
I
say
gotta
it.
go. I'm just gonna say it's the Dolphins' year, Matt.
Oh
I
my
really
god.
think so.
Yeah,
I'm
who's the more
serious.
delusional one now?
I'm serious. I think okay. Nah, if I'm being honest, it's because I don't think the Dolphins are gonna knock them out. I think this is the year something goes wrong because last year the Chiefs shouldn't have won, but they did. This year they should win, and they're not. I don't know who's gonna beat them. My hope is Joe. takes out Patrick Mahomes somehow, and then Tua they get somehow home field advantage or something like that, and he can beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals because I don't know if he can beat the Chiefs. So that's gonna be my counter argument. Um, yeah, that's what I'm feeling because I think if it's not this year, Matt, I don't know. I know they're going to be good for a long time, but
Hey,
I there's just something. I just feel like this is going to be the year. So
did I give you my disease that I had my entire life? Like,
maybe,
like every
maybe,
year it's the year. It's your year every year. Gotta have confidence. So I respect that. Maybe you should be the fanatic. I'll be the fan now. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. That I just didn't want to say Chiefs Niners again, but yeah, Dolphins
Yeah,
Niners.
not Niners. They're gonna have the hangover. There's always a
Yeah,
team that has the hangover. It's gonna be them.
yeah.
It's gonna be
Okay.
them.
All right. So MVP, you're waiting on this one. Who's it going to be?
MVP. It's gonna be Pat. No, that's so no.
Oh God. Okay. CeeDee Lamb
For those of
or
you, no, the tall guy, the taller guy. Rain Dakota Prescott will win MVP this year. Bet on it. Contract year. Any guy with a chip on his shoulder is dangerous. And Dak has a chip on his shoulder this year. And hey, if he leaves next year and he brings us the ring, that's fine. I don't care. But he's gonna have an awesome year. I think. I think he's gonna win MVP. Book it.
okay. I'm gonna go Josh Allen. And the reason I'm gonna go Josh Allen is because I think the voters are gonna see how many guys he lost. He lost all these players, and he's still gonna pull them to the playoffs. And I think with I don't want to say the least talented roster, I know they got what Curtis Samuel,
Keon
but you lose.
Coleman,
Yeah, you got Keon Coleman,
Dos-
Kincaid, you got
Kincaid.
Kincaid, but we don't really know what that team is going to be like. I think if he manages to bring them to the playoffs in a really tough AFC, then he's going to have to run more than he's ever run. He's going to have to be Superman throughout the regular season. Um, and I think, yeah, give me Josh. I'll go with Josh. I think this is his year. So, okay, sounds good. It's our NFL stuff. Will be interesting. We'll get to more stuff next week, Matt. But as we start to wrap up here, we can hit some baseball to wrap it up since we are in coming down to the stretch in baseball. So Yankees, if you want to just give your overall feelings, how we feeling about the team, trade deadline, any of that stuff you want to bring up?
Ooh, well, I guess from the time we had our break to now, kind of a disaster, like for the Yankees, honestly. Like the emotions are not high outside of the two superstars. But somehow to this date, on August 26th, they have the best record in the AL. I think they're half a game back of the Dodgers for the best record in baseball. And that's with a lot of ugly. So with that, that's pretty good. But in the weeds, not so good. Not so good. A lot of flaws with this team, I think. And then it really comes down to the trade deadline too. The big splash was we got Jazz Chisholm. He's been terrific. Probably is going to be our third baseman at least for the rest of this season. So I guess it's kind of good that we locked that up. But pitching wise is where I was a little concerned too. And we signed two guys, relievers. One is already DFA'd. Another has an ERA that's like 5. So great job, Cashman. You really helped us out. Um, through all this, it's Clay Holmes, great guy, but this guy is literally a heart attack waiting to happen every time he pitches. I don't know what it is. Like I don't think he's meant to be a lockdown closer. And I think closers, you just gotta have that it factor where you come in and the guys you strike fear in the opposing team. And I don't say you don't have to throw 105 miles an hour every single time, but you got to have that presence on the mound. And I don't think Clay Holmes has that presence. I think teams honestly, it's like the Craig Kimbrell when he's bad, or maybe even Kenley too when he had his rough patches. It's like, ooh, yeah, like we're down one. We got this. We got this. Like that's the kind of feeling we get. And I was hoping that we could address that situation internally or with the trade deadline, but I guess we're riding with Clay Holmes for the rest of the season, which is not promising, I think. Um, but I think going forward, once Jason Dominguez gets called up and is starting in the outfield, and if we stay healthy and we get Rizzo, we got a shot. We got a shot to make a push because Aaron Judge and Juan Soto they're just ridiculous right now. Ridiculous. So if Gleyber Torres gets on base, just get on base as the leadoff hitter and let your two big boys do the work. And that's literally been the reason why we are winning. It's a two-headed monster right now that's been carrying us. So I want to see a little bit more help, improvements from Clay Holmes going down the stretch, but I expect the Yankees to be in October this year after missing out last season, which is not what Yankee fans expect at all.
Yeah, I think you got to feel pretty good about your team. I would feel pretty good. Okay. Well, hopefully we can help you out. We got a big series against the
Yeah, I'll be
Orioles.
cheering for you guys.
So hopefully this will be a good test for us. But yeah, going into this one, feeling pretty good after, going into the All-Star break. We're playing some pretty mid baseball, if I'm being honest, but we finally got the troops coming back. Max Muncy has been a huge boost since returning to the lineup. Mookie came back, and it's like he never missed a beat. So good to see those two guys come back. Shohei obviously getting his 40-40 in just
That
the
was a
best
crazy moment.
possible way, right? Walk off grand slam to get 40-40. I mean, what else can you say about the guy? DHing, uh, not pitching at all, and having his best offensive year ever. So, I mean, 40 stolen bases, 40 home runs. He's 30 years old, right? Like, it's kind of ridiculous what this guy can do behind, with the bat in his hand. Hopefully he's okay. He did get hit in the hand the other day. X-rays came back negative, which is good. So feeling pretty good about this team moving forward. I really think it's going to be Gavin Stone as that fourth starter in the playoffs. Walker Bueller, Bobby Miller, they've been kind of shaky. Bobby a little bit better than Walker. I'm really sad to see Walker look like this. It's just, he's kind of a shell of himself right now. Hopefully he can get back to the point where at least we can use him out of the pen in the postseason, because right now he's just not, you can't even use him as a starter at this point. So we'll see. The bullpen, I think, they have their up and down moments, but when this bullpen is on, they are on. I think Michael Kopech moving forward, he might be that closer to take over from Evan Phillips. We got a couple lefties as well. I really like Bonda. Vesia has had a better year than last year, so hopefully we can get Guerrero coming back, and then Yamamoto in time. He's going to start making some rehab starts. So it's kind of lining up. And I will say that I do like actually that, we are playing competitive baseball as opposed to the last 2 years, cruising and coasting going into the playoffs with that one seed. No sweat, and then getting bounced in the wild card round. Or sorry, not or in the
Divisional.
first round. Yeah, the divisional series. And so I'm kind of glad, dare I say, that Arizona and San Diego are kind of pushing these boys to where they need to feel that they're feeling the pressure already, and it's not going to be just some switch that they have to flick come playoff time. So I'm excited about the overall direction of this team. Even the losses are real close losses. So I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good moving forward. As long as we're back healthy, I like our chances against anyone. So that'll be my kind of Dodgers thing, real quick. I don't know if you wanted to talk about the Little League World Series, Matt. I know Maui had a team. Unfortunately, did not make it to the finals this year, but
Yeah,
still think
didn't
they had
have
a
the
pretty good run.
firepower as
Yeah, the
last year's
bats, they
previous
just
years.
didn't quite have, yeah, like you said, the power. I thought their defense and their pitching was pretty good, but yeah, just didn't quite have the big power bats this year. So I mean it is what it is. And
Yeah.
even, watching how that the championship game
Oh, that
ended,
was a good game.
good
That
game,
was a
but
good
just
game.
heartbreaking for Chinese Taipei to lose like that on a
What is the
miscommunication
second
off
baseman
bunt
doing,
defense.
dude?
I'm not too sure. Um yeah, just unfortunate way for the series to end, season to end for them, but hey, it was a good it's always a good time watching the Little League World Series. The talent is just getting crazy every year. I mean, we had kids throwing 80,
Oh, there's that
80.
Venezuelan pitcher,
Oh my
80. Yeah, he was
goodness.
throwing gas.
80 from what is it, 45
Was
feet,
it 48 feet?
40 something feet away?
That's like
Yeah,
over 100
forget
miles
it.
an hour equivalent to
That
Major
is
League.
actually ridiculous. So,
You can't even hit
talent's
that in
getting.
OBL.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'd put a 12-year-old on our team, and he'd be the hardest thrower on our team. So yeah, just kind of ridiculous what these kids can do nowadays, but always exciting to see the future of baseball. Okay, I think that'll do it for our sports stuff. So we'll get into a couple quick hitters, one new one. But the foolish fool is not changing. So Matt, who's
Oh,
our
yep.
first foolish fool of season four?
It's only right that I gotta start with my team. Jerry Jones. I think he probably wins this award the most out of everybody in sports. But he said some things that really disturbed me today. So obviously he signed CD. Great job, I guess. But then he tells in a interview, and I literally quoting, I wrote this down. It says, "There's nobody living that's out cutting and shooting that can give you a bunch of times they busted their ass. So hell no, there's nobody that could effing come in here and do all the contracts and be a GM any better than I can." This guy is 81 years old. Like, can you just like shut the hell up? Like, honestly, like just I can't stand this guy already. Like, your ego is through the roof. It's okay. You're an owner. You're an owner. You own the Dallas Cowboys. You can hire somebody younger to do this job for you. You have a guy in house that everybody wants and has proven that he can do the job. But you're just too stubborn in your old ways to change. And this is why we're just not winning with what we have right now. So it's more of a frustration thing, but Jerry Jones, the comments you made not going to sit well with Dallas fans. Let me tell you that. So you are the first foolish fool of season four.
Okay, sounds good. And this year I will be taking out the state of the 808, and it will be called the fans tribute. So basically, I'm just gonna highlight a story or a team or a player, something that I think didn't get a ton of headline news, but I think needs to be talked about and brought up. And I'm gonna go for my first one of the year, Jason Heyward. He was released by the Dodgers this year. I know he didn't produce as consistently as hoped for, but man, two of the biggest, most memorable pinch hit home runs of the year. He had an earlier one, the grand slam against Colorado. And then, most recently, he had a big one to really help the Dodgers beat Seattle. And it's just unfortunate because we have a lot of talent on the team. Chris Taylor was coming back, and it sounded like they were going to stick with him. With Kevin Kiermaier coming in, I think he gave them a little bit more hitting production than was expected. And they liked the glove from Kiermaier just a little bit more than Heyward. But I really thought, the past 2 years, he's been a great presence in the clubhouse. That's what I think is going to be the biggest blow. Honestly, it's having that vet leadership and presence and chemistry, steadiness in the locker room. But listening to what Freddie Freeman has said, just he was a big piece for a lot of the younger guys on the team. So my first tribute is going to be to Jason Heyward. I'm sure someone will pick him up. If not, hopefully we can still scoop him back up when the rosters expand. But I'm assuming he's going to get picked up by a team. He deserves to be on a team for sure. So first fan tribute of the year will go to Jason Heyward. Okay, that being said, Matt, sports fact of the day. What's our first sports fact?
All right. We're recording August 26th, 2024. So actually, I'm going to keep the sports fact on today. In baseball, there was a historic moment because there was a player, Danny Jansen, became the first player to play for both teams in the same game. Now, little bit context. Toronto versus Boston Red Sox. Danny Jansen was on the Blue Jays back when this game took place in June. There was a rain delay. The game got postponed to today. He gets traded to the Red Sox at the deadline. Today, he's starting for the Red Sox in the lineup. So kind of a weird, quirky moment that a player plays for two teams in the same game. So that is our sports fact of the day. First one of season 4.
Okay, sounds good, Matt. First episode is done. Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Gotta shake off the rust, We haven't done this in a long time.
Gotta shake off the rust a little bit. It is what it is. We'll get back into the flow of things in no time. But okay, sounds good. Thanks, Matt. Well, as usual, everyone, thank you. Thank you for sticking with us through 3 seasons. Hopefully this season will be the best one yet. Hopefully it's still entertaining, even more entertaining than before. Got a lot of stuff planned. So yeah, stick with us. Should be a good one. As usual, everyone stay safe. We appreciate it. Thank you, and see you next week. Okay, no. So from now on, either we only make social media clips of ourselves, or at least tell the other person what you're gonna do.
But it wasn't even like that bad though.
I know, but I'm still like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, oh my god, use the clips where I look like I'm straight off of work. I'm like, I look fucking terrible. I look like a mess. Like, at least if you're gonna at least use like clips I look decent in, or like I'm not like all hashed from work or something.